Hello and welcome to our second Ad Net Zero Global Summit. I'm Geeta Pendse and I'm speaking to you from Park Village Studios here in London, which is a fitting home for our second advertising. That's it, that's the summit over. No, you can hear me. Dedicated entirely to the climate crisis and how we can all take positive action. I'm sure you may be aware, but Park Village is behind the award-winning Waste Minister campaign, which was designed to drive political awareness around climate change. If you've seen it, they use virtual reality to create a scene where 1.8 million kilograms of plastic waste was dumped outside of virtual number 10. And that represents the amount of waste that the UK exports every single day. It was absolutely jaw-dropping. And what we're hoping over the next few days is that we can inspire more of this kind of work to really shift the dial on how the advertising industry around the world can play its part in tackling climate change. Now, I understand that we are expecting over 1,000 people to be tuning in over the next 2 days across 50 countries, and we're trying our very best to make this as inspiring and interactive as possible. To invite on stage the UK and Global Chair of Ad Net Zero, Seb Munden. Let's give him a round of applause. Seb, welcome. How are you doing today?
Great today. I mean, I can't believe it's a year since we did this in Glasgow, and here we are again already at our second Global Summit. It's great to be with everybody today.
Thank you, Seb. And of course, we do know that as this is happening, we have COP27, which is happening in Egypt, where global leaders are looking at the geopolitical issues around climate change. What are you hoping over the next few days that we'll be able to do here in our industry to support the action plan for net zero?
Well, I already felt last year in Glasgow that whilst there was a very good and frank conversation amongst the governments around pledges, our role is to deliver, to do stuff. Today, I'm wearing my Don't Panic cufflinks, because that's in a way how I feel about it. I think panic because there is not a moment to lose. We've got to get on with it, and we can. That's the good news. And that's really why we shouldn't panic, because there is a plan. But we need to all do the plan. And the brilliant thing about the plan is everyone can. You don't need to be a CEO or the partner in a firm or the owner of a firm. Anybody who works in our industry can take charge of their part and do what's right to eliminate waste and eliminate the sort of carbon emissions of what we do.
And you mentioned, of course, this time last year was the first At Net Zero summit, which was from Glasgow. It's the second anniversary of Ad Net Zero. What has happened in the last year since that first summit?
Well, yes, I mean, we now have 100 fabulous supporters, ranging from some of the big advertisers like Unilever, where I used to work, to the big advertising multinationals, to production companies, media owners, large and small. So that's fantastic, because in the end, the truth is that whilst we can share best practice and show what's great, it is you in your companies that will deliver this industry to net zero, not us here at Ad Net Zero, although we're rooting for you every step of the way. So that's been a big step forward, having that many supporters. And I think also, it's a point really where we've had our first kind of second market, which was in Ireland, and big shout out for the IAPI in Ireland for really grabbing this and going for it and getting supporters really quickly, which just shows that people in the industry want to do their bit. And also, it's a little bit before waking up time in the east coast of the US, although I expect if people have been watching the elections, they may have been up all night. But John Osborne has joined us to be our lead in North America. John comes with great pedigree. Not only was he CEO of OMD in the US, but also BBDO in New York. So that experience of both media and an agency. And he's going to lead the charge in America. And we were with him at Adweek, New York, a couple of weeks ago. And you could see already the impact that that's starting to make. And as we start to kind of build awareness around the fact that there is a plan and this industry can change, it's very important to really crack the US market. It's 40% of global ad spend compared to 5% here in the UK. So if we're really going to make an impact, John and the team need all our best wishes and all the supporters in America there. But we also announced some new global supporters at Adweek New York, Pubmatic and Reckitt. So we're really pleased about that. And we were very honored that during that week, the British Department for International Trade at the British Ambassador's residence in New York, they hosted a reception for us. And we really managed to get the message across there. So I think momentum's building. John was at the A&A Masters, and the topic was extremely well aired. And so we're very confident that we're going to hit the ground running when we launch officially in the US in January. And also at the IAA conference as well. But I think we need to be clear that although these internal milestones are very important for scale and awareness, there is only one real scoreboard, and that is getting our emissions to zero as an industry. And if we characterize what we're really trying to do here, it's to change the way we work, to reduce emissions, but also, I think, to change the work we make to drive more sustainable consumption and more sustainable choices. And in these two objectives, we can all really make a massive difference. So I would say everyone can get involved. And these 2 days, really, there's something for everybody. Whether you're starting at the beginning, whether your company is well down the track. But in the end, let's remember that delivery is everything.
Yeah, and you can get that real sense of momentum that is growing, Seb, but also the work that is still to be done, which is what we'll be looking at. Can we get back to basics and tell us about the action plan that you have presented?
Yeah, so we have 5 actions. 4 of them are around changing the way we work, and one of them, action 5, is around changing the work we make. So just to run through the first 4, firstly, it's our own emissions. So that is, in essence, it's energy and travel, but that's your kind of house emissions, as it were. The second one is about production, where we have the fabulous AdGreen tool, but the idea really here is to curb emissions, but also start to respect nature and some of those other important biodiversity ambitions, which go hand in hand with reducing the carbon footprint of production. The third one is, one of the biggest challenges, which is to decarbonize the media supply chain, and we've got some fabulous work just starting up on that. The fourth one is to look at the way events and awards are managed to decarbonize those, but also to make sure that awards recognize the sustainability of the entrants. And I'm very pleased to just say that we've got coming up in the next couple of weeks the first Campaign Ad Net Zero Awards, and we had some fabulous entrants and some fabulous winners, although my lips are sealed until November the 23rd. So those are the actions, if you like, around getting our house in order and changing the way we work. Then action number 5, the last action, is really about using the power of advertising. And I think this will come back a couple of times today. But as I talk to people across the industry, from clients to the agencies to production companies and to media owners, it's the people who work in these businesses who want to make a difference. They want our industry to be a force for good. And we can be. We can promote sustainable behavior. We can promote changes to behavior in order for people, citizens, to live more sustainable lives. So those are the 5 actions in a snapshot. People afterwards, during the day, will unpack those in a bit more detail.
Absolutely. Well, should we get started with the first session? Our first session today is advertising environmental claims correctly. Seb, I know you're going to be chairing this, so I will hand over to you to introduce our guests.
Thank you, Geeta. We look forward to seeing you in a bit later on. So yes, this is our first session of the day, advertising environmental claims. Every single one of us working in advertising has the responsibility to ensure that the work that we make is trusted by the public. This is going to be even more critical when we consider the role of advertising in supporting positive behavior change. And supporting a more sustainable living. We really have to get our facts right. Fortunately, there are clear rules around how to promote environmental claims correctly and do this without greenwashing, that wonderful word. And I think my soundings say that there is a certain nervousness around, kind of saying the wrong thing. And of course, actually what we really want is people who've got a story to tell to be confident to tell their story, and people who are worried about their story to think twice about what they're doing. So that's the intent. We've got some great speakers coming up to really kind of unpack the subject for us. And the team at the Advertising Association, who, if you like, are the mums and dads of AdNet Zero, and the Advertising Standards Authority, have agreed that actually we need to cover this topic pretty much every year to share the state of the art, how the science is driving our understanding of the claims territories forward, and how the rules are adapting to that. So we're fortunate today to have experts from the CMA, the ASA, and Conscious Advertising Network to unpack and explain and discuss the very latest guidance on how to communicate environmental claims, avoid greenwashing, and discuss climate accurately.